Hello once again, everybody. Welcome to the next in our Meet the Partner webinar series. And today we've got Bogdan from HYCU, who's going to tell us all about backing up your SaaS data. Now, this is, relatively new. It's a requirement. And so, really interesting product and interesting timing. So good to have you with us, Bogdan.
Thank you, Michael. Happy to be here. And of course, today's topic is going to be a very interesting one. It's about SaaS data protection in general, but more specifically, we are going to talk about this in the context of Atlassian Cloud. So looking forward to it today. Yeah, so I would like to begin with just a short overview of key challenges that we see in Atlassian Cloud data protection. And then, of course, how HYCU has started the path of generically actually solving the SaaS data protection problem. But we should not forget that HYCU also is full hybrid / multi-cloud data protection solution. So we can help customers protect their on-prem environments as well as public clouds as well. Everything from virtual machines, hosted applications, all that. But the key focus of today's presentation is going to be cloud.
Awesome.
So with that, if you agree, I will switch to the slides and just begin with the introduction to the topic. Yeah. So, all right. So the key topic is going to be obviously the automated and compliant backups with one-click restore for Atlassian Cloud. This is going to be covering mostly Atlassian, but as I've said, we will also look at the rest of the SaaS as well as on-prem and public hybrid cloud environments. Just to begin with who HYCU is, we are backed by Atlassian Ventures. So obviously Atlassian has investment in HYCU. We have 3 currently marketplace applications in Atlassian listing, many more on the way. So we will see more on that later. A number of customers globally, of course, operate across all 5 continents. And some customers famously, of course, are at the bottom of the list. In Australia, probably most relevant is DoD, but also US armies are a big customer, but of course not just public sector, also private companies are on the list of people, customers that use HYCU. So with that, let's also show you a bit of how analysts see HYCU as a company. So Gartner Magic Quadrant Gartner has added us to the Gartner Magic Quadrant recently. So in 2022 we entered, and we are proud to be in the visionary quadrant of Gartner in the enterprise data protection space. So specifically, they have called out our ability to deliver hybrid multi-cloud backup capabilities, but also extremely good vision when it comes to protecting SaaS applications. And this is what we are going to talk about today. So the first challenge, the main challenge actually with SaaS applications, but let's begin with Atlassian Cloud specifically, is that the customers don't really have ability to protect and recover their data in Atlassian Cloud. And this becomes very painfully visible when you first delete something in Atlassian Cloud, in Jira, in Confluence, and then you're presented with this message, right? Once you delete it, it's gone for good. So there's simply, once you delete the data, there's no way to getting it back in Atlassian Cloud. And this is very true also for many other SaaS applications. So obviously customers have no way of recovering their data, but you would think, what is available then out of box with Atlassian Cloud, with Jira, with Confluence? What can customers do to protect their data? And again, this is what we see in most customers, is that customers can really export their data. This is mostly the capability that comes out of box with the solution. And exporting data, of course, is not true backup. It does allow you to get kind of your hands on your data and kind of create a copy of your data outside of Atlassian, but several things are missing if you compare this to the proper backup solution. For example, what backup schedules? These exports typically are manual operations. You have to have a person click through UI actions and really not forget to do this regularly. Then with Atlassian Cloud specifically, you can only export your data once every 48 hours. So customers tend to need more granular schedules, and you will see that HYCU can do this much more often, even down to an hour if you need to. Then granular restoration is virtually impossible with these exports. So if you have just deleted a single ticket or a single attachment, there's no way to get it back from this export. Export only allows you to revert to a certain point in time. So imagine if you had done an export 2 days ago, and now you want to restore a single attachment. Export will only allow you to go 2 days back in time with all complete state of your data. But then you will lose 2 days of your work, which a single attachment probably cannot justify. So again, not ideal. And then there are several other things like, backup will also do multiple copies of your data. You will keep them offsite. You will have long-term data retention available. So, and ransomware recovery options. So your data, your backup data is typically automatically protected against ransomware attacks and corruptions. So all these things are, you have to do it all by yourself. And that's not a small work to pull off. So again, all these things are missing if you want to try and protect your data using these exports. So obviously, it's not ideal, and a proper backup solution is required for you to be able to have all these capabilities that you would expect from a backup solution. Now, and why is that? And again, Atlassian is not the only one. 99% of all public cloud and SaaS vendors have the same principles. And that principle is a shared responsibility model. And basically, it states that some of the things in public cloud, of course, vendor is responsible for entirely, which is their infrastructure, availability of their application, all that. But some of the things that you are accessing and you are entering and you are controlling as well, like your data, they cannot have control over that, what you're doing with that. So therefore, you as a customer are also responsible for that data. And Atlassian very clearly states that. There's a document they have published about cloud security and shared responsibilities. And they clearly state when it comes to customers' data, customers are responsible for doing their backups. So very clearly stated and very fair. So if you are to protect your data, what are some of the critical reasons you would want to do that, you would think, right? And of course, first one we have already seen on the previous slide, accidental data loss. So what if I delete a ticket, an attachment, a number of tickets? We've had customers that these things just happen, right? Human errors. So that's one reason we see customers are deploying data protection solution for Atlassian Cloud. The second one is compliance. And this is arguably also, a very critical one, of course. So many customers have specific data security, data retention, also data residency requirements. And this is the same for backups. You have to keep your backups safe and secure. Very often in certain industry verticals, you need to keep backups for several years, 5, 7, it's not unheard of. And of course, they need to be kept within your country or within a certain region for residence requirements. Again, all these things are important, and customers to be compliant, they would simply have to adhere to those rules. And then ransomware recovery, of course, last but not least, unfortunately, we are seeing ransomware attacks just being extremely fierce lately, and also SaaS applications are not immune to them. So obviously you need to protect your data to be able to recover in ransomware incident situations. And of course, it's also important that your backups are protected in such a way that they cannot be corrupted by ransomware. Because if you think of it, if a ransomware can corrupt your backups, then, well, there's nothing to recover from. So extremely important aspect of your data protection strategy. Okay, so how does HYCU address that? And what are some of the benefits? So first and foremost, HYCU is 100% software as a service. As such, of course, it will also protect your on-prem environments. If you have virtual machines running on VMware, Nutanix, and similar physical machines as well, we can protect those for you. Public cloud virtual machines as well. Not a problem. AWS, Google Azure, fully supported. But then, of course, the public cloud platform as a service or SaaS applications are the other area where HYCU is very unique on the market, as you will see, with all the support of platforms and applications we offer. No other backup vendor actually has such a wide offering and such specific approach to this market. And of course, we have mentioned Gartner Magic Quadrant. So HYCU is actually the only Gartner Magic Quadrant vendor that supports Atlassian Cloud Backup. So that's also one important aspect. All right, so what are some of the benefits of the solution? Obviously, automated backups. So you just configure once and you don't have to really worry about this anymore. So backups are just going to be triggered automatically and regularly, as often as you need, down to 1 hour, as we've said. So obviously, this is much better than once every 48 hours you can achieve with the exports that are available from by default. Then instant granular recovery. That's a big one. Many customers, human errors or maybe malicious users that want to do you harm and delete stuff, you can actually get it back easily by just a few clicks. You can granularly store your data on many granularity levels. If you look at projects down to individual attachments or in Confluence entire spaces or down to a single page if you need to. Compliance, of course, HYCU allows you out of the box to implement virtually any kind of data protection, retention, data residency, compliance requirements. So your backups can be kept within your region, within your country. That's not a problem at all. You actually fully control where your data is going to be backed up, and as well as how long you will keep it. And of course, lock down your data in such a way, we call it immutable, that ransomware cannot get to it. And even if they get to it, they cannot do anything to it because the data is read-only and you cannot obviously corrupt read-only data. And ensuring you are able to recover from those backups. Okay, HYCU goes, of course, beyond just Atlassian Cloud. On the left-hand side, you see our current situation when it comes to Atlassian Cloud applications. So we support everything from Jira Software, Confluence, Jira Service Management. Jira Service Management, by the way, includes assets. So that's a big thing for customers that use assets with Jira Service Management. We can actually back up assets too. Then Trello, Work Management, Product Discovery, and Bitbucket is coming soon. So that's our Atlassian coverage today. And then when it comes generically to SaaS applications, we cover everything from Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, Salesforce, Okta, and ClickUp down to Asana and everything in between. So, and this list is growing every month. Basically, every month we are looking to add 3, 5, 7 new SaaS applications, which is virtually unheard of. So no other backup vendor actually is able to offer new capabilities so quickly. And this is due to our unique design of our backup solution. Which allows us to add these backup modules independently from the underlying platform that is our solution. And we call it our cloud. Okay, so not just SaaS, we also are able to protect your cloud PaaS and databases services. So, everything in Amazon or Google, and we are going to be adding Azure, of course, as well. So a lot of those platforms as service capabilities we can also protect for you. Identity and access management of AWS, for example, and similar in Google as well. Okay, so just
main thing, Bogdan. I was just thinking.
Yeah, go ahead.
In terms of the pipeline of new platforms. So is that the goal of HYCU to basically be able to back up everything? Because I think that's one of the challenges these days is having a tool that will actually do everything.
Yeah, extremely valid question. We see a big gap on the market when it comes to platform as a service functionality and SaaS applications in particular, because this is actually not an easy problem to tackle. And that's why the majority of the backup industry has been avoiding it. They would maybe support Microsoft 365, Salesforce, ServiceNow, but this is where they stop because these are top 3-4 SaaS applications, and they would not go beyond that. But this doesn't really help customers. Customers need much more comprehensive data protection strategy for SaaS applications, and this is also what we are aiming to do with our platform. It allows us to rapidly add new SaaS applications. And yes, our vision is to quickly support top 50 to top 100 SaaS applications, most popular ones, and go even beyond that. So whenever we run into a customer that has a very specific SaaS application, we always want to learn about it and see, how quickly we could go and develop that capability as well. And our platform is open, so we are not just the only ones that are developing those SaaS modules. We actually are building entire ecosystem of other third-party vendors that are also developing these backup modules. So this allows us, with this partner ecosystem, to be very quick in addressing customer needs wherever they come from in the SaaS space.
Cool. Cool.
Perfect. Yeah. So, and this is just the last slide before we switch to demo. This slide talks about, about other capabilities as well. I was talking about HYCU can back up also your on-premise infrastructure, public cloud infrastructure, virtual machines, applications, and databases that run on the virtual machines. So these are the first two pillars on the left-hand side at the bottom that you see. And then, of course, PaaS and SaaS is something where HYCU is very unique, which is the third pillar of this capabilities that HYCU delivers for customers. So this is how modern data protection solutions should look like. So with that, let me switch to a demo and show you a little bit of how a HYCU UI looks like. And specifically, we are going to be focusing on Atlassian Cloud for that demo, but you will quickly see that other SaaS applications actually are handled in a very similar way. So first thing you will notice, HYCU is a SaaS solution. You connect to it by connecting a certain URL, and then you can identify or authenticate yourself using your favorite single sign-on solution. So we have Azure Active Directory. You can also use Google Identity Access Management or Okta or any other third party as well. So I will just log in with my Azure ID identity. So this allows me also to, of course, automatically integrate with two-factor authentication and all the things that my company is using as standard. So this is already making it very secure and compliant with your company's policies, right off the bat. So, of course, there's a lot in this UI. I will show you a little bit this R graph as well at the end, but let's begin with how you would go and configure your Atlassian Cloud Backup. Now, the very first thing you would do when you have like an empty screen, simply go to the what we call HYCU Marketplace, so this shopping cart icon. And when you click on this, you actually will see all the modules. Remember, I was talking about these modules and how easy it is to add them to the platform. You see all the modules that we have currently available and you can deploy across your entire environment. So, for example, there's a number of AWS modules we talked about. Asana is there and a lot of other products, including Atlassian Cloud. So now if you want to, for example, start protecting your Jira software, it's very easy to do. You simply go to this section, click configure button, and you will immediately see the UI where you configure access. You give actually HYCU permissions to access your Jira software environment so that we can start backing it up. So the three key elements you have to specify, of course, are credentials and API tokens. So this gives us ability to connect to your Atlassian Jira software instance. And it's equally the same for Confluence, and for that matter, for any other SaaS application. The very first step is, hey, give us credentials so we can get your data and we can start protecting it. Now, once you enter your data about Jira software, then we would immediately connect to your instance and try and see whether the credentials work. And if credentials check out, we immediately show the green check mark here, basically saying, yeah, we can connect to your Atlassian environment and the connection is working. Here you see that, we have three sections here. We protect SaaS applications. This is where you would go to protect your Google Cloud, for example, resources, virtual machines, anything else. This is AWS, and we are integrating Azure, shortly. So the Azure is also going to be here. So here you see that from a single UI, you can actually protect all your three public clouds as well as all your SaaS applications, all from within a single UI. So once you get this done, then, remember we have just connected to Jira software. And the very first thing we allow you to see is then top level projects that you're able to protect. So they have been only discovered, they're not being protected yet. We'll get there. The second thing to configure that is your storage. So where are my backups going to go to? And here also, HYCU is very unique. Here, HYCU actually allows you to use any storage, any S3 storage that you would be using. For example, by default, we support Amazon S3. We are adding Azure shortly, then Google buckets as well. But then also any other S3 compatible storage. And just by clicking, for example, this button and going next, you can configure if your company, for example, is using AWS. Or you have a partner who is able to offer their AWS storage as a service to you, so you keep backups in their storage. You simply enter that storage credentials, how to access that storage, and we will import that storage. So you're effectively plugging in your storage into our solution, and we will use your storage to keep your backups. This makes it very, again, compliant with companies' policies. So data residency, data retention, all that is completely our control. And one thing worth mentioning is HYCU will never own any of your data. So all your data goes from your cloud, Atlassian cloud, straight to your storage, and we are not keeping any of your data ever. So you're fully in control of your data always. Extremely important fact, of course, for several companies. All right, once you plugged in your storage, it's time to define the policy, because policy really drives the whole process of data protection. So it will connect to your Atlassian, to Jira software, for example, extract data, and policy will then put your data to the storage you've just specified. And there are some predefined policies we called, popularly bronze, gold, platinum, and so on. But you can always configure your own policy. You can say, hey, I want my special policy. And define your own rules, how you want backups to happen entirely. So you can say, for example, well, I want backup to be done, let's say, once a day. I want to keep data for 12 weeks, and then I want this data to go to a specific target, and you can say what that target is. Remember, this is your storage. If one copy, and that typically is not enough, one copy of backups is not enough. Best practice always says, hey, have 2 copies of your data. And if you need another copy of your data, you simply enable this copy option, and then you have ability to specify the second retention period for that second storage location. And here you can go crazy. You can say, hey, I want here 12 months of my data, and I want this data to go to a slightly more cost-effective storage that would cost me less, because I will keep more data on it. And this can be your simple policy, for example, that creates 2 copies of your data, different retentions, and daily backups. Very simple, a couple of clicks, and you can configure other things as well. You can also configure backup windows and any special archiving needs you have, so very flexible. Right, once we have the policy done, it's time to begin finally backing up our data, right? So remember, we have these 3 top-level Jira software projects we've discovered. Now it's time that we really start backing them up. To configure backup, again, it's just a few clicks. You select the project you want to back up, then you go to the right-hand side, click Assign a Policy, and then from the list of policies, you select the one you want to apply to this project specifically, click Assign, and from that point on, this backup is going to be taken regularly as instructed. So all the backups that happen are then visible on the bottom part of the screen. So when you click on the project, at the bottom part of the screen, you see every backup taken. They're called restore points. So restore points then can actually be used to restore your data. So imagine then an end user has deleted a specific ticket or attachment yesterday, and you want that back. Obviously, you need to take the backup that was done prior to this deletion happening. So, for example, maybe I take a backup that has happened 2 days ago, or yes, yesterday is enough, and then I click the restore button. Now, this is where interesting things happen, and I will just show you another project that has much more custom settings. So if I start restoring the data, here you are able to see all different granularity levels that HYCU enables you to choose from when you want to restore your Jira software elements of pieces of data. So you can restore the entire project, or then different configuration items such as issue type screens or schemes or workflow schemes, then bugs, tasks, epics, stories, attachments we've mentioned. Even you can even define custom issues in the Jira software, and of course those are also captured, and you can restore individual instances of those, and so on and so forth. So let's say that a user has deleted an attachment, and just for fun we are going to show you how this restoration process would take place. So the next step is in this restoration process is HYCU is going to connect to the backups, and now we are reading the backup catalog. So this is a lot of information about what data you have there, what attachments, where are they. So this is taking some 20-30 seconds roughly. And then we will visualize the entire project content hierarchically, so that you can quickly identify the attachment that you need to restore for this end user. So while this is taking place, Michael, any questions with everything I've shown so far in the demo?
Sorry, I'm mute. No, that really, it's simple. That's one of the things that really jumps out to me. That it's just, yeah, a few things, a few settings, and there's really not that many.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. If you really have a certain mission, what you want to achieve, like, okay, I want to back up my Jira software. It's really 3 or 4 things, right? You configure, and you're done, and then you can begin. And this, of course, solution can also be used by partners as a service, right? So you can actually use this and offer backup as a service to customers. Maybe not all customers want to actually work with the product like this because they don't want to deal with backups, but partners can for them, right? And that is another way of how you can consume this software just as a service from a partner, and then make your life even more easy. All right, so this is my entire project visualized. So if I click on the project at the root level, I see, it's not a big project, right? So I see a couple of epics, a couple of bugs. I can then expand this and go 1 level lower. So this is my epic. It consists of a number of stories and bugs and custom issues. So you see, we capture everything about your project hierarchy and the ticket hierarchy. And then say that this is the attachment we need to restore. So you simply click it and you go next. Now you just specify one more setting, and then you can click restore, and then your attachment is going to be read from the backup, and it is going to be reinserted back into your production to the ticket where it belongs to. So in a couple of clicks, like in a minute or so, your attachment can be back with no drama. And this would be virtually impossible with default capabilities of the Jira software, which allow you to simply restore everything back to a certain point in time, which is not what you really want. You just want this attachment, nothing else, right? So that's, in a nutshell, a very, very short demo. There's, of course, many more things to HYCU, as I have just shown. I focused on one specific use case around Atlassian Jira software in this case. So you have seen that we have many, many more SaaS applications and PaaS capability, backup capabilities. So we are adding those on a monthly basis. I believe just tomorrow we are adding 2 more, or we already have. And yeah, so this is rapidly being added as we are, and our partners are developing new modules. And of course, the very first thing you typically need in large organization is you want to understand, well, but what are some of the SaaS applications we are using? A funny thing happened when we asked this question, random people, also IT, they said, well, yeah, we are probably using some 12 to 15 SaaS applications. You know how many we actually use? 80 at HYCU, right? So everybody was surprised, 80, how is that possible? And this is really a key challenge for many organizations, that nobody even knows the scale of SaaS adoption in those companies. And this is why we have introduced this capability you see here called rGraph. So rGraph is actually a visualization that helps you understand, what is your SaaS adoption in your company. So if I just maybe zoom in a little bit into that. So this is a capability where we connect to your identity access management solution. We discover all the applications you have configured and which people, which departments have access to those apps. And we simply visualize this for you and show you, hey, did you know that your engineering department is using Okta and Jira software and this and that and that, and maybe not all of these would be protected. And then, of course, IT managers or even information security officers can use this information to really assess their data protection coverage and identify gaps quickly, because there maybe are some business critical SaaS applications you are not protecting. And maybe you were not even aware those are being used. And all of a sudden you see, oh, engineering is using that. We need to secure that absolutely. So and this allows company to be first see their use of SaaS applications and PaaS capabilities, and then make an informed decision what absolutely needs protecting, making them more and more compliant as they go. So that's kind of a key key use application use. And what are their potential risks they're exposed to by not protecting certain areas? And then, of course, they can go to the marketplace and start protecting those and those marketplace modules. But until you know what is really the scale of the SaaS data protection exposure or risk that you're exposed to with SaaS, you don't know even where to begin protecting the data. And so that's why this visualization is so important.
Well, thanks very much, Bogdan. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Design Industries can help you out with this. So better late than never or something. But yeah, really good timing to get something like this done. So I think we're going to be reaching out to everyone. And yeah, let's get the rGraph complete and at least start having that conversation.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thanks very much for your time, Bogdan.